Have Gameloft just dropped our very first breadcrumb for DLC number 3 coming later this year. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Oscar's Cozy Corner. We are a couple days on from the developer update and we're still unpacking everything that we saw. There was so much information to take in, but one thing I want to kind of feature and talk about today is the possibility that Gameloft might have dropped our very first breadcrumb for the possible DLC coming later this year. Now, there's no concrete proof of this. There's only theories and speculation, but that's what I love to do and that's what we enjoy doing best. So let's take a look at what I'm talking about. Let's take a look at the roadmap, then we'll take a look at the teasers, and then we'll see if we can piece anything together and see if we can work out what it might actually mean. All right, so we did get a look at the free content roadmap for the rest of the year, and you can see this first spot over here is summer 2025. Get in touch with your emotions. I spoke about this on stream and in another video. I do believe that we will be getting 2 characters with this update. It will probably be Joy and Sadness. Joy is just a guess because of the main character, but the Sadness aspect is because of these glasses down on the desk. Now, Sadness is the only character in Inside Out to be wearing glasses, so I think that is a pretty good guess. Moving on to autumn 2025, Return to an Enchanting Realm, Beauty and the Beast, of course. We have a candelabra and a grandfather clock featured over here. Now, Gameloft does like to do that with these teasers, so we can suspect that it will probably be Lumiere and Cogsworth. And then moving over to winter 2025, Make Your Dreams Come True with Cinderella's Carriage, and we do know that Cinderella has been in the game, or at least in the trailer, for a few years, so it is finally her time to shine, which we love to see. But of course, that is just the free content roadmap, so we are getting the second part of the Storybook Vale DLC, and then we will, hopefully, fingers crossed, be getting an additional DLC later in the year with a whole host of new characters, map, and biome. Now, the reason I say that Gameloft might have dropped our first breadcrumb is because during the showcase, when they're showing us some of the new tapestries, they do show us a franchise that we do not have in the game, and that is important, and I will tell you why. So as of now, all of the tapestries that we actually reorder at the Lawkeeper, you can see them in the collections tab, but all of the tapestries that we have in the game are existing franchises in the game. There is nothing in here that we do not currently have. The only one you could make an exception for is Sleeping Beauty, but we did meet Maleficent at the end of the first act, so I'm not accepting that as an answer, but otherwise, we've gotten all of these franchises in one form or another. We've got Encanto, we've got Cinderella from the Fairy Godmother, you know, we have Aladdin now, we've got Beauty and the Beast. So all of these, Sleeping Beauty, we do have Maleficent coming, Lilo and Stitch, Nightmare Before Christmas, you know, these are all franchises that we currently have characters for in the game. Now, that is important because in the showcase, when they were showing us the new tapestries, if we take a look, they first show us Peter Pan, which is great because we do know that the Adventures or the Mysteries of Skull Rock update is basically a Peter Pan update. So we do know that Peter is coming to the game. We see here the hook shapes. On a side note, I do love the way that they integrate these puzzle pieces and kind of make the puzzle pieces relevant to the franchise that it's from. But we can see this tapestry here that features Peter, features Wendy, does feature Hook. A lot of the times these tapestries do have additional characters because it's kind of like giving you an overview of the movie. But we do know that Peter is coming next as the next update. So that is the first point. That is an important thing to note. And then the second one that they show us in order is the Inside Out one. So on that roadmap, if you remember, Inside Out is going to be the update following Peter. So we do see here a couple of different kind of scenes from Inside Out. We see Joy, we see Sadness down here with the glasses again, which is why I think that Joy and Sadness are going to be coming with the update after Peter. And just as an aside, kind of unrelated, I absolutely love these tapestries. I think they look fantastic. I don't know who made them. I don't know how they made them, whether they were actually painted or not, but the whole vibe of them is just really lovely. I think they did a great job with them, especially when they're properly put together and you can take a look at them. They're just so rich and the illustrations look fantastic. Hats off to the artist at Gameloft. Whoever you are, whoever made these, well done, because these are really gorgeous pieces of artwork. You should be proud. But going back to my theory that they are kind of giving us breadcrumbs. So we had Peter Pan, we had Inside Out, and then the third one that they showed was in fact Snow White. But there's a couple of things here. We don't have Snow White in the game. We don't have anything to do with Snow White in the game. We don't have Snow White herself. We don't have the Evil Queen. We don't have any of the 7 dwarfs. So I think personally that this could be Gameloft's first little breadcrumb for us as a little teaser as to what will come with the DLC later in the year. Now, we do know at the end of Act 3 of Eternity Isle, we got our very first glimpse at the Storybook Vale when we saw that tapestry of Maleficent and Hades, and that kind of like sparked all sorts of speculation. There was a lot of hype around that, which was a very fun time. But I do think that this is something to be aware of, and I do think that there is something in this. And I think, personally, if you're asking me my opinion, I think that this could be hinting. I know that some people have said it could be hinting at Snow White. I think that this is hinting at the Evil Queen. And I just think the tapestry itself is very dark. There's not a lot of brightness. There's not a lot of kind of like color going on. There's an apple here at the top. Obviously, we're not even talking about the glaring piece of puzzle, whatever it is that's in the middle, which is the poison apple. Now, I do know that they, like I just said, they drop in things from the franchise that kind of represent them in puzzle pieces. But this is bigger than the rest. This is a really large poison apple pieces that make that silhouette up. I'm lost for words on this one. But I think there's double apples and the Evil Queen is really in focus over here. And this is kind of like the brightest part of the tapestry. If you take a look at it on the whole, like this is the brightest part. So I don't know. I think that there's something in this. I don't necessarily think that this is teasing Snow White coming as a character in the DLC. I personally think this is actually teasing our next villain, and I think that this is teasing Evil Queen. Now, I could be totally wrong on this. We might get to the showcase in a couple of months' time, and they say, surprise, it's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I'd be like, okay, work. I could see that. But I don't know. Just from my point of view, when I saw this and when I looked at this and the cogs started turning, there are cogs in here, believe it or not. I did think like, all right, there's a giant poison apple. There's an apple at the top. Evil Queen is the brightest part on the tapestry. I think that there's something in this, and I think that this could be our very first breadcrumb for DLC number 3, and I do think that it is going to feature the Evil Queen. That is my early prediction. Let's see if it comes true. I don't know at this point. All right, gang, that is it for this video. I do hope that you enjoyed that kind of like bit of speculation. What do you think? Could I be totally off kilter here, or do you think I could be onto something? I've seen, like I said, a few people say that it could be Snow White. I truly do think that it's probably referencing the Evil Queen instead. Let me know down in the comments what you think. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like, maybe subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I think nearly half of my viewers don't subscribe, so come on, join the chaos. You know you want to be a part of it. With that being said, I will leave it there for today. Still plenty more to dive into from that developer update video, but I will catch you in the next one, and I will, of course, see you in the valley.